You're alive.
All right. We're in the double digits. Episode number 10. Live edition on a Tuesday.
We got a lot going on around here.
Yeah, we had a lot going on. Somebody had a birthday they had to celebrate.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I had Mr. Crockett lined up for you. He was a guest. He was going to come here and sing happy birthday to you. And then I had Rodney Carrington. He was going to close us up.
I mean, we could probably afford Rodney Carrington. I don't think we could afford Charlie Crockett anymore.
Yeah. Well, he was coming, and then you said, no, I think I want to go celebrate my birthday somewhere else tonight. So
yeah,
I just decided, I thought, well, all right, then. I guess I got to send Charlie on his way.
The big 38.
Yeah.
So closing in on 40.
Do you feel 38?
Honestly, it kind of did when I woke up this morning. That was the first time I felt like when I was 37, I was like, I don't feel 37.
Yeah.
And this morning I was like 38. I was like, I kind of feel it. I don't know.
Are things like popping? And
I mean, that's been happening to me. But like I was starting to notice a little bit of gray starting to pop up in my beard and stuff. So yeah, like I don't know. I've seen some like little wrinkles around my eyes. Yeah. So like I don't know. It's like I kind of woke up this morning and felt a little 38-ish. So
yeah,
I don't know. I gotta.
I'm going to ask you a question. There's a point to it. So, like, when you were a kid, how were you? Were you a good kid? Were you a obnoxious kid? Like,
oh no, I was a very good kid.
You were a very good kid?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, well, that's good news.
Yeah, I was a very good kid.
I was going to say, because here it won't be long, you'll have one of your own, and you'll really get gray.
Well, that just depends. If she comes out like Kim, yeah, we're gonna have our hands full.
You just said that live with people watching.
So yeah, we're gonna have our hands full. I think Kim said it too, so she already knows.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Okay. As long as she knows, but. Yeah, man. Well, are you as gassed as I am?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a long weekend.
Well, that and the heat. I mean, it's been miserable.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough 2 days around here. It was really nice. We were raced up in Farmington. It was like 82 degrees on Saturday. It was really nice up there. But back here, it's like 102 degrees every day.
Yeah, it was not that way at Atwood. It was hot. It's funny how we went from being raining all the time. Couldn't get dry. Now
opposite streak.
Now it's just dry
as hell,
hot and miserable.
Racing every weekend now. All that stuff.
Yeah. No happy medium, but you had
we both got to race this weekend.
Yeah, we both got to race this weekend. So
since you haven't raced in a while, I'll let you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
You can break down your weekend.
Ooh, where do I start?
You got to run Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, I got to run Friday and Saturday. USCS race at Atwood, Tennessee. Little drama to start the night. Get to the track, and we hear that AG and Derek's rig had been hit by the train.
Yeah,
and that's all anybody could talk about at the track. And everybody just asking each other, everybody okay? And but anyway, so get the seat in the car. I'm driving for Bobby Jones, the 55 car.
What time did Bobby get there?
He got there. I had told him, I said, well, they said hot laps are starting at 7:05 or 7:20 or whatever it was. So gates open at 5, and that was when he showed up. We had time. We got the seat in. I mean, we had plenty of time.
Yeah, right.
We didn't. It's not like
they did start a little bit later up there.
Yeah, well, it was so hot. I guess they were pushing it and pushing it a little back a little bit. But anyway, so got to seat the car, got myself comfortable, and we're going through, all his shock sheets, and we're trying to figure out like what we're gonna do. And I don't know anything about the car. I've never drove this car. But anyway, get everything all lined out and get out there on the track, and it was terrible. I didn't like it in hot laps at all.
You called me and was asking me about it. I haven't driven that car either. I've driven the other one.
Yeah.
And it's when I got to asking you, I think I asked you, like, what shocks you have on your, you're like, well, we got some CSIs. And I was like, take those things off. Yeah. There should be some momentum somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what everybody runs. He just don't put them on the car to ride up and down the road. He puts the CSIs on to ride up and down the road.
Well, he failed to mention that.
And then
so we went out there for hot laps, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad. It felt lazy. It just I don't know. I couldn't explain it. It wasn't good. Changed the shocks, and we thrashed to try to get everything changed before the heat race. Finally got back out there and started on the pole heat, won the heat. And as the night progressed, we got the car better. I got more comfortable with it. It was just something about it. I was telling Chase, Chase Howard drives that car a lot, and I was telling him, like, this car just feels lazy to me. Like, my car, I'm so used to mine. Like, when I turn it, it's going to go wherever I turn it, no matter what. But like that one, it just took it longer. It almost felt like the car was like 2 foot longer.
Right.
You know, so it just took some getting used to, and the more I got used to it, the better I got with it. And had to run the dash, typical Brandon fashion. I drew the 6.
Yeah.
And drew the 6.
You won the heat race, right?
Yeah, I won heat, so I got you know, I was in the top 6 in points. Got to run the dash, drew 6th in the dash, made it to 4th, started 4th, and lap 1 of that race, Connor and Dwayne got into each other going into 3. I had Keith Ainsworth. He was just below me when we come out of 2, and so like I couldn't run the bottom, or I didn't want to chop him off, you know, too bad, and so I kind of just went toward the middle and gave him some room, and I was slipping up the racetrack. I mean, the whole racetrack was super.
I saw the videos.
Dusty,
like,
and I'll get to that. It's kind of why I thought you should probably go first, because I've got a couple things to say about all that. But anyway, so I go in the corner, and I'm just sliding, and I have no control really. It's a controlled slide. I'll put it that way. Connor spins. I hit him right rear to left rear. Pops my tire. Well, it knocked him straight, and he got to keep going. Changed the tire. The tire I had on was brand new. Well, then we had to change the tire, and it was an old tire. And when we changed tires and went back out again, it was back to like it was in hot laps. It just
all over.
It was terrible. You could tell right rear just had no grip, no bite, no nothing. It just wouldn't go nowhere basically. But still managed to go from like, I don't know, 14th, 15th, whatever we were at the time, and we got back to 8th. But so we kind of salvaged it a little bit, not terrible. Next night, drew pretty good again. Started on the pole of the second heat, won that heat race. The dash, got to go in the dash again, drew a 5.
Yeah, I thought you were on the last row again. In the dash.
Drew the 5, so I was the last row again, and nobody passed anybody. And I started 5th in the feature, got to 3rd pretty quick, and Chase kind of got out to a little bit of a lead. I think Chase had got like 10 car lengths on Dale. Dale got like 10 car lengths on me, and that's about like where we were. And as we got to traffic, I reeled in Dale and I was probably about 2 car lengths from him. I thought we were getting ready to have a pretty good race, and then the caution come out. And while under that caution, the drag link come loose on the
I heard.
car.
I hadn't had a chance to ask you what happened, or if you know what happened to it, or
so,
if it was loose or what.
So we're under caution. I'm buzzing the tires, trying to keep heat in them, and I'm going through 3, and then all of a sudden the car just takes a left, and I'm headed straight toward the infield, and Bubba Jones was stopped at the bottom of the racetrack. He had spun. He was the reason for the caution, I guess, and he's sitting down on the bottom of the racetrack, push truck's getting ready to push him off, and I went like right in front of Bubba's car. Like it just turned and went right in front of Bubba's car. Another 2 foot this way, and I would have run right into Bubba. That would have been icing on the cake.
At least it didn't happen under green.
Yeah, at least it didn't happen under green. But yeah, I just about took his nose off, and then pulled in the infield, and my steering wheel's just sitting there doing this, and I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to unbuckle because I wasn't sure. I thought, well, if we get a red, kind of like we did Friday night, if we get a red, we can fix it and get back out. But we didn't get as lucky. So, but yeah, I've got the race. As far as the racetrack goes, do you want to talk about yours before I get into that?
No, you talk about the racetrack, yeah.
So, I remember going there in 2014. When was the last time you went there?
Last year.
Last year? Is it so? It was the same way last year. When did they change the dirt on that racetrack?
Well, it's set for a long time. It closed down for a couple years, and it just set. And I think it like washed all the good dirt off. And so basically, you have pit area dirt, same as racetrack dirt now.
Yeah.
Is what it looks like and feels like when you're out there on it, and just blows dust. No matter amount of water they put on it, it just goes right back to that dusty. Like the cushion will build up sometimes, but it's like this dust cushion. It just
crumbles.
And if you get up over it, you just go for like a death slide.
Yeah.
Like I hit the wall doing that. I got up over it one time and it just like slides the car and you just hit the wall.
Yeah, it's kind of sad because like the track has.
It used to be awesome.
It used to be great.
I used to love going there.
Yeah, I think the last time I went there was 2014, And I remember the racetrack being great.
Yeah, like, yeah, it used to be.
We
really
were,
fun.
I mean, we were beating the wall down, or you were running around the tires, and
yeah,
I mean,
usually had a bottom and a top on it, and it had a nice like a cushion that would hold you and stuff. It used to be really nice.
Yeah, I remember it being really good. So I was kind of excited to finally get to go back, and I was severely disappointed.
Yeah, it's nothing like what it used to be.
It was awful. And
usually the person that only has fun is the one that wins.
Yeah.
It's usually the guy that has fun.
Yeah. Well, Chase and Dale got to have more fun than any of us this weekend for sure. But Friday night when I had to go to the rear, Brad, I ain't kidding you. When we took the green,
you can't see. Yeah,
I could not see past the car.
No, you're not going to see.
It was
if you're
bad.
like third row back on them starts, you can't see anything. Like if you're driving blind.
Even Saturday night during the heat race, I remember thinking it's dusty here.
Yeah.
Like we're throwing so much dust up that even as the leader, I'm still seeing just dust. And pulling off the racetrack, I about run over Terry Gray coming off the racetrack one time. There was people walking over there about where we were coming off. Couldn't see a thing.
Yeah, I know.
And I thought this is a good way to get somebody killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was really frustrated. I was just disappointed because I was excited to go there and I just didn't expect
it's not
that. But Tucker Bolton showed up just Saturday. He didn't race Friday, and he's walking through the pits. It's like, where were you at last night? You know, and I told him, I said, well, don't get off the bottom. Whatever you do, don't get off the bottom.
Yes, I watched the video, and I know on Friday in 1 and 2, at least, or maybe even later in the feature, you could make the top work. In the heat races, you could make the top work down there, but then 3 and 4, you could try to enter on the top, and then everybody would just die out.
Yeah.
And you had to get down there on the tires. And Dale, like he was going 10 miles an hour one time, and down there in 3 and 4, trying to roll it through there.
Yep. So like Friday we had cleaned off the track enough that you could hammer the middle, but it was weird because it wasn't rubber.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you can usually tell, like looking at other cars, if the track's taking rubber or not. You can look at their tires, but nobody's tires was like flat.
Mm-hmm.
But you could run through there pretty hard. But I guess it was just because we had cleaned it up, we could carry speed and just use it to our advantage instead of sitting there trying to snail around the bottom like we've been. And so, but it did not take rubber. But then 3 and 4, it was the same both nights. You just had to go in there and just slow down and just run as low as you could. I had all 4 in the infield.
I saw you in the heat race. Think you were running like the diamond line down there. You would enter high and come across. It looked pretty good doing that.
Yeah, and it had a good bit of moisture as you entered the corner, and so like that's what I would try to do. I would try to go in there as hard as I could, and then roll out and just turn it and drive across. I thought it was helping. According to what I saw in the video, it wasn't really helping me that much, but I thought it was the best thing to do at the time.
I mean, it didn't look bad. So
it was driving good, and it made the car feel better. So that's why I kept doing it that way. But that eventually went away. You couldn't even do it in the feature. So we just had to ride around the bottom. But I was disappointed. I was disappointed for one that Bubba said, "Hey, now in my defense, I didn't spin. I was just calling it a night." Sorry, Bubba. I just now saw it, but yeah, I was severely disappointed with how the track was, and I, you know, usually I don't get upset when things are kind of out of my control like that. I don't get upset, but this year there's been a lot of things out of my control that have happened, and dadgummit, we were having a good night again, and it got taken away, and I was pretty frustrated with this one, but I mean, all you can do is just keep going, and it'll turn around eventually. It doesn't stay that way, you know, forever. So
the moment it feels like it's going to last forever.
Yeah.
Though, but.
As soon as that car stopped Saturday night, I sat there like this, and I'm just like, who did I piss off in traffic, or like who's cursed me, or you know, do I need to sacrifice a goat? Like, I don't know. It's been terrible. It's been one of those years for sure. But I mean, it's part of it, I guess. But you raced. Saturday.
I went back to Farmington on Saturday. Had 17 cars show up for that. It's the final tune-up before the Queen's Royal that's coming up this weekend. 7,000 to win, 500 to start this coming up weekend. So it's our final tune-up night for that, and ended up felt decent in hot laps, and then we drew. I don't know what he drew, but we started third row inside the heat race. They actually did 2 heats. They usually, like, even if it's 17 cars, they'll split it into 3 heats, and it'll be like 5, 5, 6, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
They did 2 heats this time, and I started 5th, and I got to 3rd and felt all right. So, but they just line them basically heads up. So I went 5th to 3rd. So then you start 6th in the feature, and started 6th in the feature, got up to 5th, kind of hung in 5th for a while, and we got in traffic. We were all kind of pretty tight there for a minute, and I got by Jeff Asher for 4th, and that's where I ended up finishing, was 4th. The end was kind of right there with 3rd. Had the right rear tire started going down. We made a little contact earlier, and the right rear started going down towards the end. But actually, I think it helped me because I was a little bit free. The track went from like one extreme. It was fast and pretty heavy, and just kind of like blew off right before we went out there for the feature. So I wasn't exactly just on the money, but track was really weird too because they put a bunch of white. We had to go out there and pack it in to get it run all the way in.
Yeah.
And the previous weeks it stayed pretty fast all night. Well, this time, especially down in 3 and 4, it blew off and actually took rubber towards the end.
Oh man!
But that end sits in the sun more than 1 and 2 does.
Yeah.
1 and 2 stayed pretty fast all night, and the bottom was even really fast in the feature. But the top kind of like it got slick and kind of cleaned off. But that corner's so tight, if you can keep your momentum up, it's really hard to roll that bottom and pass anybody down there. So like you said, track position's always pretty big there because it gets tough to pass at times. But 6th to 4th was pretty solid. We found some issues. We fixed some of our issues. We found some issues. We got those fixed. So feel pretty good about that. We've had a stumble issue the last month, and we tweaked on it, and I think we finally got that fixed. I didn't really have a big issue with that all night. Kind of early in the night I kind of did, but heat race feature took off pretty good. And then I was talking to Brian Bell, kind of about what my car was feeling. He's been trying to like help us get dialed in and stuff. And I was just explaining what the car was feeling like the previous weeks. And we were just talking about our shocks, and he was looking at the shock sheets that we have. And I was explaining to him like what I was feeling. Like I was like the shock, like I pulled the shock off, like it goes in and I can't pull it back out. Like and he's like, he's looking at the sheets. He's like, man, he's like, I'm telling you. He said, you have your left front shock on the right front. He's like, I'm telling you, that's the only thing it can be. So I went up there early on Saturday. I was gonna go mount some tires, get our stagger measured up, just be ready to go when we got to the track.
I didn't know you knew how to work on one.
Yeah, something.
I thought you just showed up.
So I did. I went and looked in the wall, and I pulled the shock because we our left front shock we hadn't been real happy with, and I just put like a straight Pro 4.6 Pro on the left front. So we have our gas one hanging on the wall, and I just went and looked at it, pulled it off the wall. Sure enough, it said right front on it. So I mean, it's been a month. We've been running the left front shock on the right front. So, we've been trying to prepare for this race, and I don't know. Last night was basically like our first night we got to really prepare for it, because we've had the left front shock on there for Brandon. Every week he'll pull them off and gas them up and put them back on, and so that's just something I just didn't go double check ever, and so we've been having that issue all year, and like. Earlier in the year, the track was slick every night, ended up rubbering in by the feature, and everybody, we complained enough, and we got them to do a complete 180 to where midway through the season, we started having fast tacky tracks. So like I was getting pretty good on the slick rubber thing. Yeah. And then we had to like basically start all over with fast and rough. And then we also have a left front shock on the right front. So going into this weekend, I have no, like
Let's go, Brandon.
We have a decent starting point, I think, but I don't feel like I've got this.
I mean, did you notice a big difference?
It felt better. Like it wasn't diving over on the right front and stuff, and so, I think we got a decent starting point now. But I don't feel like I'm just know exactly where I need to be at.
Well, I guess if you start doubting yourself, just put the left front shot back on the right front.
I don't know.
You'll know where. Well, you'll know where you were and how you should adjust from there.
It was always a sketchy feeling. I was like, this thing is going to crash every corner. I was like, it's a damn miracle I finished in the top 5 every weekend that we've been over there so far. With that thing doing that.
Does that mean we're all in trouble then? Now that you've got all your shocks on the right corner, we're in trouble?
No, I can't confidently sit here and say that. No, not at all.
Why not? So. Where'd you start last year?
9th.
You started 9th? Yeah. You made it to what?
4th. Yeah, 4th. Yeah, I know. That's like, I don't know. it feels like that was kind of like beginner's luck or something. But we also, like I've told you before, last year we ran that LS motor.
Yeah.
And then this year we have the All Pro motor in, and like the LS is a lot smoother of a power band, where the All Pro is just kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say violent, but that thing will rear it up, and it's like I'm having trouble keeping the wheels on the ground, and it's like I'm having to, we like the stuff we did with the car last year hasn't been working with this other motor, and so it feels like we're starting all over again. So I don't feel as confident. Well, also last year going into the Queens Royal was my first 410 race, so I was just kind of like, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it. Like
you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, like I can either make this happen and drive this car again or not. And so I just went out there and just drove it. And well, Brian also got that thing dialed in really fast for me too. He did have me very comfortable really quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, since we swapped the motor over, like the motor fast as hell down the straightaway, and once I get it back on the ground, but it's been a handful most of the time.
I can remember one of the first 410 races I ran. The first 410 race I ran was Outlaw Race at I-30. That was when they were still going there. And I remember I was having trouble keeping the nose on the ground, kind of like you're talking about. And Dad got the idea. I don't remember how he done it, but he made like this huge chunk of lead that bolted to where the torsion tubes are on the front. And you couldn't see it. He painted it black. It just looked like the torsion tubes were like that big, you know. But it was just this huge weight.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that thing would definitely keep that car on the ground. I don't know how much weight it was, but I could mat it pretty hard and some good stuff.
No, they won't let you, bolt it in front of the axle or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chaz had a pretty good idea. He's talking about, Prime Composite sponsors him. He's like, they ought to just start putting lead inside the nose pieces. I was like, that's not a bad idea if you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, just put a damn weighted nose piece.
Well, that's just what Dad tried that time. I didn't know nothing about no rules. I don't know if it was a rule then or not. That's just how he done it to try to teach me, but or help me out. But yeah, I had a tough time trying to figure. I remember the first time I went to Farmington, it was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's shorter than the Little Rock, and I mean
it's smaller than Riverside.
You're just rearing up.
You get back in the gas, and straightaways are so short, you don't have your gears just as soon as you get in the gas, it wants to just go.
Yeah.
And so we've been, I don't know, struggling with that quite a bit. So.
Have you looked at a forecast for this weekend?
Yeah, it looks good.
It's
like 87's the high, 60's the low. So it's going to feel good up there. So no rain chance or anything like that. So.
I didn't know there was a chance of rain today, and it kind of looked like we were about to get some. So I mean, it could blow up.
We pulled up the track Saturday. We got to the track and we're sitting there and there's rain. You can see rain all around us and dark clouds like surrounding us, and there's sunshine is completely around the track, and like the biggest claps of thunder were going on, like it was just going to come a storm at any moment. And it never did rain. The sun stayed out the whole time.
Was that the vortex? The vortex?
I guess that's what they were talking about on the news.
You wasn't even racing yet, though.
I guess it did again today. There, it just surrounded Farmington and didn't rain anywhere, and it was doing the same thing when we were up there Saturday. There was rain. I mean, that was like loud thunder, like it was just going to come a damn downpour, and it never did rain or drop.
So was that like an Indian burial ground or something over there?
But it killed the crowd. That's for damn sure.
Nobody there.
I think we raced in about in front of 30 people. It felt like over there. Yeah. So.
Well, at Atwood Friday, I thought, oh boy, this is terrible.
Like
but Saturday they wound up coming out pretty good. They probably just thought, man, I don't want 2 nights of burning.
That's the way that's why you don't see a lot of people do 2-day shows hardly, because first night nobody's coming.
Yeah.
They'll always come on the second night. That's why you don't see many 2-day shows.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you're going to lose your ass on the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Outlaw race was kind of a letdown at Riverside last year.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people were planning on coming there Saturday night.
Everybody I talked to was like, well, we're coming tonight, or everybody was coming the next day, which is, well, I guess they lost enough on the first night. They're like, screw this.
Yeah. But. Do you know anything about a format this weekend?
They're going to qualify, and you'll line up heads up.
There's just heads up racing, no points, no nothing.
So then, I believe it'll be the same way. The winner of the heat will draw the top 8 spots or whatever, however many heat races they have, the winner of the heat will draw. You'll start first through 6, first through 8, or however many heats we have. I think last year we had like 8 heats or something like that.
I don't remember. It was good. It was like 50 or 60 cars showed up.
It was only 38, but
was it?
Yeah, we only put like 6 cars to a heat race because
Okay.
we didn't get to qualify because the transponder loop messed up. So they put us all into heat races just by how we drew.
Your memory's better than mine when it comes to that, because I thought it was quite a bit more than that. But
yeah, it was only about 38, but they split us into heats of 6. I think we ended up with like 8 or 9 heats. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah, I wonder who all's coming. I haven't seen anything. I hadn't seen anybody talk about.
I was looking. The IRA, they have a show in LaSalle, Illinois, which is like 4 hours away from Farmington. So like last year, Jake Newman was there. So I highly doubt he'll probably go do IRA.
Yeah.
T-Mez was racing the Kenny Pope car last year, but now Kenny Pope's son's driving it, and he's actually had some health issues the last couple of weeks. So I don't think they'll have their car there at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe B will be there. Scotty Milan will probably be there. I saw Howard Moore's coming. We'll probably.
He's been getting some reps in too.
Yeah,
he's been going up to Ohio and Indiana.
He was up in Indy over the weekend. Mm-hmm. So I think you'll get a couple, like Missouri cars. There'll be like Miles Paulus, I believe he has a 410 now. Like you'll probably get some of those guys come down for it. So I think we'll end up with 35 to 38 cars again for that deal. But I think the IRA is going to take some of the good ones that were there last year. Will probably take some of those away.
Yeah.
So, but it's hard to find just an opening date around that area, that whole Illinois, Indiana, the northern Missouri area. They've always got the Power I, IRA, All Stars up in that area.
Yeah, so they're literally like right in the middle of everything.
Yeah,
and so trying to find an opening is
ton of stuff going on. And then the Power I races again the next week, I believe. So I did Gage Montgomery. He's from the area, but he hadn't really raced there much this year because he's been doing the Power I thing. So I saw he was coming to race as well. So there'll be some cars that haven't been there all year that are going to come back. So it'll still be a really good car count, I feel like. So
I hope it's a good racetrack. I hope it's not taking rubber or anything like that.
Yeah, that's another thing is last night or Saturday we had 6 classes, I think, total. They had the vintage class comes. Mm-hmm. They had 20 vintage cars, and so they split them into 3 different features. So they had 3 different vintage features before our feature, plus 4 other classes. So they had a ton of cars racing on it. To where this weekend it'd only be sprints, A mods, and the limited late models. So it'll only be 3 classes. So I'm hoping that'll save some of the track for this coming up weekend.
Yeah, and that could have been, at Atwood we had 5 classes, but so that was one thing. There wasn't many cars of any kind. I think there was 5 late models that were there.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't many cars to help us, in our situation. But I hope that this weekend with car count being lower for those, and I hope we get a good race. Last year was a really good racetrack.
The track was fun. It was really racy.
Very technical. You could.
You had to find the moisture, and you had to really race the track. It was fun last year. I hope they can get some sort of similar to that next week. And I will say I don't know what happened, what they did different, but we were riding around the track under intermission, and there was, I'm telling you, rocks this damn big in the groove. Like I was picking up big rocks and just chunking them in the pits. Like I don't know what happened. I have never seen it like that before. But there was a bunch of rocks on it for some reason. Yeah. Saturday night, and hopefully they can get that stuff scooped off too, because I do not want to get. You don't want to get blasted.
No, I'm about to say you don't want to get hit in the head with one of those, and I don't care for one to come through the rock screen. So it'd be a good weekend to have a rock screen.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be a good show like it was last year. They had a nice crowd and stuff, so I hope everybody comes back out for that. If you're from the Missouri,
probably their biggest race,
you're watching it, which we know you are watching, we hope to see you there. Also, before we move on to anything else, Riverside's running ASTS Hurricane sprint cars this weekend, so be sure to go out there and check that out.
Yeah. If you're not coming to watch us, if you don't want to drive to Farmington.
Yeah, if you don't drive to Farmington, go to Riverside.
Yeah. It'll be a good show this weekend.
So, they got the ASCS Hurricane going to be there. Derek will be racing there. I did read that.
Yeah.
From what we were talking about earlier, most of you probably know his they were going to Atwood where Brandon was racing, and they got hung up on the train tracks. And they said they were sitting on the train tracks for maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And Carter, which is the guy that helps them out, was on the phone dialing the railroad's phone number. He typed in like 2 numbers, and they heard the train horn coming. And it was basically like, no need calling now. Just everybody. Go. I think they said AG tried to like kick it down and low and try to get it to come loose, but it was just, I think they said the steps on the trailer got hung up on there. And of course, basically sitting ducks then, the train runs through the trailer. Like it just basically cut that trailer like right in half. The truck doesn't even move an inch. And the trailer, the cab of the trailer is still hooked to the truck. Yeah. And it just took the rest of the trailer and turned it sideways and scattered shit everywhere.
Yeah. That engine pushed the engine out. There was tires and there was parts everywhere.
Yeah, that's what and I've come to find out, I guess the city, because AG had been over that spot before. I saw a lot of smart people on the internet that know everything, and what an idiot, like they were there and they just knew everything that was going on. Yeah. He should have his CDL revoked, just talking dumb shit. They don't know they don't know anything about what's going on. He'd been over that spot before, because people that don't know, there's 3 different places you can cross the tracks. One of them is like a car can barely go over, and then there's like a middle one, and then there's one down here. Well, he'd been over that one before, but apparently the city had raised it another 6 inches. So when he was going over it, he got caught this time. Yeah. And so apparently, and also another guy got stuck down at the other train track. So like it's an issue because of the way it like heels up and then it caps off real tight. And so they got hung up, and they somehow he said the car, the wing got bent up a little bit, was the only damage to the car. Yeah. And they were trying to pull the mule out, and they got some damage to the mule trying to get it pulled out. I guess they had a wrecker trying to pull it out of there, cut down one of the tires, and I think did some body damage to it. And they had their, like right where the train hit, it's like right where their spare motor cabinet was. Yeah. And so it got hit right there and knocked the spare motor out, and it said it did some damage to the block and stuff. So they weren't sure if they were going to be able to salvage that or not. But yeah, there was tires and fuel jugs. Like there was some crazy stuff though. Like you could see there's like the bolt. There was like a bolt bin or something. It was like
perfectly on the front of the train.
Yeah, it's like nothing was out of place. Yeah, like nothing was out of place on it or anything. And some stuff was just completely destroyed. Yeah.
It's not like the train was even. It wasn't flying. If you watch the video, he probably wasn't doing 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, which I mean, if you're sitting still, that's pretty fast.
Oh yeah. So, but I know that they had like 4 Swindell bleeders, and they found 2, which I don't know if they went back and found the rest of it or not. I hadn't asked them about that, but I know at the time they found 2 of the 4, and there was some stuff they were trying to find. So
I'm worried. The thing that bothers me is in that situation, I worry if they'll ever even get to go to court, because you know how, the train folks, I'm sure their insurance companies,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like
push it.
It's gonna be a mess. I feel like.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it'll. I don't ever see it going to court, just because I feel like they've got the big, like McCarver was saying the other day, is like they've got billions and billions of dollars. They'll push it, and I kind of agree with that, but. Who knows? But like you said, that they had changed the basically the road, the train track, and there's nothing sitting there saying that he can or can't cross, or and there's nothing there. They've got a case.
There's no sign saying trailers cross here, or don't cross here. There's never been a sign like that. You just had to know which one to go to.
There could be a case made if you could get in the courtroom. Yeah. So I hope. I don't want to see that happen to anybody. I know AG and my family haven't seen eye to eye, but I wouldn't wish that on nobody. That's a terrible situation.
That's what like nightmares are made of. That's one of those things where you're having that nightmare and you wake up and you're like, thank God it was just a dream. Yeah. Like that shit actually did happen.
And I'm just glad nobody was riding in the trailer.
Oh, no.
That was that would have been it went right through where somebody would have been sitting. Yeah. And there's been times when we got a bunch in our group where me and Will and Hayden, we rode to, where'd we go? Batesville. We rode in the trailer because there wasn't no room left in the truck. So had that been us, we'd been sitting there, maybe not known it, until it was about too late. So
and I did see on X, I can't remember the guy's name, but apparently AG has done his trailer business with him in the past, and he had seen all the stuff, and he talked about how AG was a loyal and a good customer for him, and he said he would, if AG wanted to replace his trailer, he would replace it for him at cost. So I thought that was pretty cool of him to do that.
Well,
so
if anybody's listening, if they want to, if AG wants to call, he can tell us his side if he wants to. I don't have his number.
I saw Derek put out a press release. They're going to use his truck and trailer for the rest of the year.
I was going to ask about that. I was wondering how they were going to do it, but I guess Derek's still got all his
rig, and I think that they still got AG he salvaged a lot of stuff out of there, I believe.
Yeah, so, I just wonder what their plan is now. Like if they lost spare engine and tires or whatever happened. I don't know how much they've lost or how much is even salvageable, but I was curious how this changes the rest of the year for them.
Yeah,
if at all.
I know they've been using AG's motor, so I know Derek still got an engine. I guess if they had to have another motor, they could. That is an option for them. But they'll figure it out. I know there's not a ton left in the year. Really, there's about 2 months really left, so there's not a whole lot of time. Not many races left, so they should be all right to get it through the end of the year. So But this is something you don't want to see. Of course, prayers up for them, and hopefully they can get it all straightened out and build back and be back strong next year. Yeah. But you never want to see anybody have to go through that.
No, I wouldn't. Like I said earlier, I wouldn't want to wish that on my worst enemy. I might not like a lot of people in the racing, but I wouldn't want them to see that happen to them. That's a bad deal. But
there is a post on Facebook saying that there's Hagar is returning to action. That's Saturday.
That's what we just talking
about. You wasn't listening.
I'm sorry.
What were you doing over there?
He says we get boring and he tunes out.
I guess so. Do we need to call Ronnie Howard back?
No. He actually did.
You don't? Yeah. He said Bobby wants to know if you
tighten the bolt.
I can't read, Ronnie. Ronnie, you're just gonna have to call. Bobby, I can't read. I can't hardly ever read. Bobby wants to know why you know tighten bolt. I guess is what he's trying to say. I didn't have anything to do with tightening bolts on that car.
Can Will post photos on here? Like if we send him a photo?
I guess so. Why can't he?
On what?
Can you post photos?
What do you want to post a photo? If I send a photo.
Yeah, send me a picture. I can.
To put it in on the live stream.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I did it last week with that video.
Wait a minute. What are you about to do? Oh no! You're gonna do that to me? He doesn't know I took that picture and sent it to you. Oh no!
I don't know. It might not even go through. It takes forever for something to sit.
It did go through. Yeah, Bobby.
This is why they call him Bobby Licious, right?
He had fell asleep in front of the cooler there, and I sent a picture to Brad. I said he's working hard. Me and Dad's out there sweating, trying to get that seat in the car, trying to get shock swapped over, and he's in there just snoozing.
Yeah, my dad called him. My dad called Bobby and asked him, he's like, well, did you go find you a hotel last night? He said, yep, right in the back of that truck.
He didn't know. We offered, you want to come? Me and Dad brought the camper or whatever, and we offered, do you want to come shower?
Yeah.
We got plenty of room to sleep in the camper or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm just going to take me a horse bath out here, and I'll sleep in the truck. I'm like, sure, no. You can come. And anyway,
he'll sleep in the trailer in a minute. He don't care. He's brought him a mattress before, put it in the trailer.
Yeah. He's a very easy guy to drive for. I've drove for a couple, not near as many as you have, but he's very easy to
he's pretty laid back.
We can ask him. It's not my car, so I'll ask him hey, this is kind of what we're thinking. Are you cool if we do this or put this tire on? He'll look at you and go, I don't care. Do what you want. It took me a minute. I finally just got to where we just do stuff.
Yeah.
But he's probably the easiest person in the world to drive with, and he's funny. He's funny and laid back, and I felt really bad for him because you could tell Saturday after the feature when he realized what happened. He was he kept apologizing to me in the trailer, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, and I'm like, it's fine. Hey, the sideboard didn't come off going in the corner. The car's still in one piece. Like it's fine. But so yeah, I felt really bad for him. But I almost feel more pressure. I'm used to letting Dad down when we have a bad night. But like when I drive somebody else's car, I feel more pressure because I want to make them happy. They're allowing me to drive their car, so I want to make them happy. I know you know all about that.
Yeah.
Did you like driving your car better, or do you like driving other folks better? Like which one?
I like driving other people's stuff better. I mean, I don't know. It's for one, it don't cost me any money.
Well, true.
So that's the big factor in it. And I've done it so much now, like I pretty much, as long as I have my steering wheel, I feel like I'm back in my car. So like any car, like Bobby's car, Mike Hampton's car, Tony's car, Peanut's car, like as long as I get my steering wheel in it, I feel like I'm back in my car.
Yeah.
I pretty much can adjust pretty easy now that I've done it for a couple of years now.
Yeah. I was talking to Chase a little bit about his little ARCA deal coming up, and I didn't know that the NASCAR guys were doing this. There goes Perky. And anyway, he was telling me that basically like all the NASCAR guys, they have like the same size seat, and then they just pour the insert in for like all the drivers have their own insert they could take out, basically put it in any of the seats. And so I thought, well, that's pretty slick. And being able to move around like that, I thought, well, it'd be kind of cool if basically there was like a one seat, for all the cars, and you could just take your insert. It'd be a lot easier than unbolting seats. You know what I mean? That would definitely make it a lot easier. That's what we were thinking as we were trying to put that seat in the car on Friday.
Yeah.
But the only problem with that too is like, Chase is taller than me.
Yeah.
So like he's gonna probably want his car or his seat lower than me, and I gotta raise mine up because I need to be able to see over the nose wing a little bit. So that's probably the only thing you'd run into. But I had a motorhome right beside him. He had to be hot. Yeah, I know he was hot. It was hot in that trailer. Ronnie said, had a motorhome right beside him. Yeah, he's over there. Yeah, he had a motorhome right beside him. He didn't go over and do that either.
Sleep in the back of his truck.
Yeah. What did you think about the Schatz deal? You want to move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
he had a ride with Big Game for all of one night.
Well, I mean, that was really no big deal. What was more interesting to me was the story that came out on Flow Racing, and some of the quotes that he said in that story was pretty shocking to me.
What did he say?
Basically, he was pretty much blindsided. He said it was a low blow, the way it all went down. He didn't expect it. I guess they'd had a few conversations, and it was he was pretty vague, but to me it kind of sounded like they had planned to finish the year and then kind of move on maybe after that. He was kind of vague about that part of it, but Tony also had put out a story, and he said he was miserable. Tony said he was miserable trying to drive the car, and we were miserable trying to get him a car to drive. So we were both pretty much miserable. And
it kind of shocked me that you just do it in the middle of the year,
Yeah, I mean, just like 3 months left in the season, and you've had 18 years together. You could kind of figure, but I think Knoxville kind of just, because every time Schatz was on the broadcast, he was bitching about something. He wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And so you're spending millions of dollars, and this man still ain't happy after you changed motors, shocks.
Yeah, everybody made a big deal about the Ford deal.
Crews,
blaming the Ford, and he went back and put the Chevrolets back on, and nothing changed.
But then Tony, Schatz come out, and they still have his seat up there. Like he's had to put, he had to use Tim Kading's seat. Because he didn't have his back from TSR yet, and so yeah, it ended up being a bad breakup, which is kind of sad to see after 18 years together.
What, 10 championships? And
10 championships. Ended up being
no telling how many wins.
From everything I've read, it seems like it was a pretty bad breakup. He said that they hadn't. Donny said him and Tony hadn't spoken in months, which was crazy to me.
Yeah. To
think like all the stuff you guys have changed, and you haven't had. It's almost like Tony or Donny was like, going to the crew chief, you talk to him about it. And then Tony was like, I don't want to talk to the guy either, so I'll go to the crew chief, you talk to him about it. So obviously it was not on top of, when you have that type of deal going on, like that's another reason why you're probably not running good. Like when you can't talk to the owner, then it's probably not going to go uphill anytime. No matter what you do, it's not going to right the ship at all. It's pretty much like time to cut the cord loose. Weird time to do it, but the inevitable was coming. Like you wasn't going to live past this year.
See, and like all this time, I've been thinking, like when Schatz says he's done, that's when Tony's going to be like, all right, I'm good, I'm done with it, And
but you read the stories that they're going to continue on from what he makes it sound like. Kerry Matson gonna
finish up
try to dial in whatever they have, and they'll look towards next year for somebody to do 2026, which I think it'll end up being Gio Salesy.
I was gonna ask you if you thought it'd be Gio. Well, a lot of people seem to be speculating it's gonna be Gio.
Yeah, I think it's gonna end up being Gio because they've got that relationship. Gary Salesy, Tony Stewart got this super tight relationship. And stuff like that. So
their shop is like drag racing, like
all that stuff.
Selzy's shop, like right up the road from where TSR is.
So I think that's who's going to end up in it for next year. So then the musical chairs will start to bounce around. I'm sure some next year. So it's just been a really weird year. A whole lot
around.
Of stuff going on.
All the injuries,
crew chiefs,
crew chiefs changing, teams changing, drivers getting out of this seat, being fired or going to another seat, and it's just the weather, like everything has just been
crazy,
so out of whack.
That and on top of that, injuries and like I seen today, Aaron Reitzel, he went back to the doctor today. He was hoping to get cleared to be able to race, but Justin Sanders is going to drive at the rest of the West Coast swing. So,
and he won.
Yeah,
he won the other night.
Yeah, from what Reitzel was saying is whatever type of foot injury he has, if it doesn't heal correctly, they'd have to go in, re-break it, and the healing process would have to start all over again.
Man.
And so he was basically like, when he was there interviewing him, he was like, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm ready for this to be over so I can start being normal again.
Yeah.
Which I understand because I had a foot injury probably like 15 years ago, and I had to get it stitched up on the top. And I could still sort of kind of walk, but not really. They didn't want me to walk on it much because they wanted the stitches to heal. So after 3 weeks or something, I went in to get the stitches looked at, and they weren't doing it correctly. So they had to re-stitch me again.
What did you do?
I had a car wreck.
Oh, you had a car wreck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I had to start the process all over again. I was like, this sucks so bad. So I can only imagine, like, you have to go in there and re-break it and start the whole process over again.
Tell you, it also depends on who works on you. I learned that the hard way. So, like a couple years ago, I got and we're getting way off track, but a couple years ago, I think it was 2018, something like that, I went down to the shop and we were unloading this truck and I cut my right foot wide open, like pretty bad. And Dad was laughing at me because I fell. He thought I just fell. He didn't know like what had happened until he saw like the pool of blood around my foot. And then he was like, oh, it got serious. But anyway, took me to the hospital over here on 14 Highway, and they put like 5 little stitches along this cut that was about that long, right across the side of my foot. And I had to clean it myself, which I thought was weird. And anyway, they stitched me up, and I went for like 2 weeks, and it was not healing, at all. Couldn't walk, couldn't go nowhere, stuck at home. And go to my regular doctor that I see, and I told her like what was going on. She actually had me and Mom come by the house. Mom drove me over there, and she fixed me up right there in the kitchen. And I mean, it healed in like 4 days.
Yeah,
So I guess it depends on who's working on you too. But
that's the way mine was too. And I was in the ER and they did it, and then I went to like just the regular doctor and they did it again. And it healed really quick after that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got one of the best doctors I'm sure he's going to, but he was pretty, I wouldn't say worried about that injury, but he was like, I'm trying to take it super easy because I don't want to have to deal with this any longer than I have to, because he's pretty miserable right now going through all that. And
I tell you, I worry about
you got a big money race coming up this weekend, and the Gold Cup starts Thursday, which Chico's a small track. He's probably got a good shot to win it, and so he's missing all that stuff. And so so it's been, I don't know, it's been a crazy year with everything: injuries, car changes, crew chief changes.
And Jamie Ball had even said that he'd been injured, and they'd done a bunch of stuff, and
he was calling the rest of the year.
He was going to call it a year.
And hell, Robert Ballou broke his back.
Yeah.
And he didn't find out until after the end of speed week. And I guess he was still hurting, and he went to the doctor. And they were like, "Oh yeah, you got like two or three broken vertebrae." And he raced the next night. He did it at Bloomington, then raced the final night at Hobstad. It's like, gee. And then Justin Grant, he's out there racing with a broken foot. And I was like, yeah, that's not.
I guess they figured it out. Is he still using the handbrake?
No, so he's got some sort of like he had like a metal plate that they rigged up on the bottom of his cast, because he had a picture and his foot was propped up and there was like this metal plate on the bottom of it. And I guess that's what he's been using so far. It's only been two. He's raced 2 Silver Crown races, so you don't have to get crazy with Silver Crown cars because they're on the big miles. He's been on asphalt, so I don't know if you get in a sprint car if he'll be able to handle that or not.
Serious question: how do you stay on top of all this stuff? Like, do you just listen to this stuff while you're riding in the truck?
I just follow. I do.
I don't know how. I don't know. He knows like the answer to everything. That's why I just ask him. I'll text him, or he'll send me stuff, and I'm like, where do you get all this information?
I do listen to a lot of stuff, but I also follow all the right people on X, and you can just pull up X and they're like reporting the latest stuff.
Well, you've got to send me this because like I don't know where you get all this information. That's why that's why you're here. Because I have to have you here because I don't know half of what's going on. I barely get to watch the race. Like you had the outlaw race pulled up.
Yeah, I mean riding the truck all day, I do get to listen to a lot of stuff and see a lot of stuff pop up when it pops up. But yeah, so that's a huge value. But X is where I keep up with a lot of stuff on there. You follow the drivers or you follow the reporters or whatever, and it'll pop up on there or whatever the latest and greatest is. It's like the Aaron Reitzel thing popped up not long before we came over here, but it was on Sprint Car Unlimited, and I'm not paying a subscription to read Sprint Car Unlimited because it's going to come out on Flow at some point, and you'll read the whole story on Flow.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what the doctors told him, but he's not racing the rest of August at least. So.
Yeah. Well, that and you got Snuggie Nation to lean on too.
You're what?
Snuggie Nation. Ain't that what your little group's called or whatever?
Oh, that's our group.
That's
They usually report on all the late model happenings. That's where I found out a lot of late model stuff is in that group there.
I actually had an interesting conversation with Dale Howard over this past weekend. That's probably the most I've got to talk to him. Saturday night, he just drove a late model. I guess it was Riverside. He won the race over there in the late model.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he drove one years ago or whatever. And he was telling me a little bit about it. And he said that man, all them guys in the late models, he said they just lift real early and set the car and get back in the gas. He said I just drove it like it was a sprint car, and he said won the race. And so it got me to thinking. I thought, I'd kind of like to try one of those late models. So I text JoJo and I said, "Hey, you still, how's the late model coming along?" He said, "That's got a hole in the piston." I'm like, "Dadgummit." I was gonna see like, "Hey, when you want to go race, bud?" I'd kind of like to try one. I would like to try one though, just out of curiosity. I wonder how in the world they drive sitting like that. And I know I talked to when Dylan was here, we talked a little bit about that, but that's got to be a weird feeling.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're coming from the sprint cars, I'm sure it's different sensation for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely got to feel slower. I mean, they're heavier. They don't have the horsepower we have.
No comment. They're going to be in my group chat dragging my ass.
That's fine. They're not messaging me. They're not going to bother me none. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would like to try one just to know like what it feels like, the sensation. Because Tony, I remember watching that. It was an interview Tony Stewart was doing one time years ago. I cannot remember who it was, but it was him and Lasowski that was when Lasowski was helping him out on that 20 car, like when he first started coming around.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying in that interview, like the wing sprint car it's definitely the hardest car he's ever had to try to drive because it's the only car that lays left. Well, that's all I've ever done, other than go-kart racing, but I wouldn't even know that I'd count that, so like, all I've ever known is for the car to lay left. I don't know what it's like to have to drive that way.
I've done non-wing, and non-wing is pretty much like that, except for it's a little more sketchier because that thing wants to flip every time you go in there, whereas a late model most of the time isn't going to flip. But the non-wing has that sensation to it. If you're not really good, if your car's not comfortable, you can feel like you're going to crash every time you go in there.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's kind of sort of similar, I would say.
I take that back. I did drive the midget once at the Chili Bowl,
Yeah,
for
I tried to
Chappoo,
drive a midget a few times. I thought I was going to crash every time I drove that thing.
Honestly,
too.
that was probably the most fun I've ever had in a car.
I
don't remember. I don't remember it feeling like it just laid so hard on the right rear that I was going to crash or anything crazy. I just remember thinking, man, this is a ton of fun. I didn't remember anything else about it other than I
felt out of control anytime I drove one, so I did not have a lot of fun.
Man,
it was cool to do the Chili Bowl, but I was like, this is just not for me.
The first time I ever drove a midget though was at Creek County, just playing one night. Jared Sewell had a midget. That was when what's his name? Man, out in Oklahoma, little kid. I mean, little bitty guy. He about that big around. Oh man, Jason McDougal. Jason McDougal was driving Jared's car that night, and it was practice night over there. It was a Thursday, and I was just talking to Jared, and I was like, "Man, I bet these things are a blast." He said, "Well, find out." And I was like, "You gonna let me drive your car?" And he said, "Yeah, get in." Dude, I got in, and I mean, I didn't look like this then, but I got in that car, and Jason was considerably smaller than me then. And I had to like squeeze in like that. Tight. And my knees were like just jammed up against the steering box. And I went out there and run 10 laps and I had a ball. But when I come back out, both my knees were swole from sitting there hitting that steering box. But it was so much fun.
I drove when my cousin John and Derek had their midget deal. I went and raced it at Riverside one night. That was
I didn't know you did that. That was
probably one of the stupidest things I've ever done. Like I think it felt like it was going 1,000 miles an hour, and it really felt like it was going to crash every time it went in the corner. Like it would like raise up, and just felt like you were just going so much faster. Maybe just light. And
there's nothing to hold it down like we used to.
I was like, this thing starts flipping, and I'm going to go into the tree line over there. I was like, this is just not fun.
Yeah,
I just retired from midgets. So.
Well, I would love to keep going to the Chili Bowl. I don't know that I'd ever be brave enough to go somewhere like Lake Ozark or Peevely or nothing like that. I don't think I'm interested in doing nothing like that. I don't know how in the world.
Gave me a new respect for the guys to go to Eldora and run it.
Oh yeah, who was it? Kuhn? Was it Kuhn that flipped so bad in qualifying or whatever down the back straightaway that one time?
Spencer Baston's crashed really hard there.
Yeah, this is an old video. I want to say it was one of the Kuhn guys that come out of turn 2. He just tapped the wall and flipped. It's on YouTube. Flipped down the back straightaway, destroyed that car. My cousin over here lives down the road. He was joking one time. He said that there's midgets that still hadn't come down in Belleville. So I don't know how they do that, but the midget was definitely, I think, the most fun car I've ever drove.
I totally disagree.
Well, maybe Chris Chappoo, he loved the non-wing stuff. He loved the midget stuff. So like maybe he just had a better feel for it set up, or I don't know. He made me feel comfortable with it, I guess. But I had a blast. I still have photos in my phone of the car rearing up, but it was like controlled,
Yeah.
So I had a ball. It was fun. Yeah. So you don't ever want to do it again?
Nope. I retired from midget racing.
Why?
It's sketchy.
Getting too old? Is that it?
That's one.
Too old? Can't recover?
That's one thing.
I'm starting to ease that way. I'm getting closer to 30, so it's going to be a little harder to recover. I can see that coming now. But I wouldn't turn it down, though, especially a Chili Bowl ride.
I guess Chili Bowl, I'd probably do Chili Bowl. But I ain't trying to race nowhere else outside of Chili Bowl.
Well, I'm not talking going to Peevely or nothing crazy. I would be willing to try Riverside, but I don't know if USAC will ever come back
Riverside.
To Riverside.
It felt so sketchy.
Really?
I don't know what it was. I feel like I was going to crash just any moment.
But isn't that fun? Isn't that
no? That is not fun.
No, I'm talking about this on the edge like that. That's not fun to you.
No, I want to feel in control. Good. Yeah, if I feel uncomfortable, sketchy.
So you're saying if 305 class, if we don't get the ship turned around, if they just take the wings off, you're saying you wouldn't do that?
Oh,
at Riverside, man. You're saying you wouldn't do that?
No.
Everybody keeps talking about jerking wings off of it.
No, I wouldn't, because I crashed the non-wing car at Bloomington like 2011. I never care to race a non-wing sprint car again.
No.
Never again. Like that hurt. That was the worst one I've ever had.
I was really hoping to get
I
was wanting to get Derek in here to talk because I wanted to talk about Knoxville and everything, and that was something else I wanted to talk to him about. Was I remember him racing that non-wing car because everybody keeps bringing up non-wing stuff for Riverside again lately. As of late, I don't know why, but I was going to ask him about, he flipped at I-30 really bad that night years and years ago, and I was going to talk to him about that too. But
mine was pretty similar. Flipped off the end of Bloomington, and that was the first time, like, when the car came to a stop, it like laid on its side, like right rear, left rear up, right rear like this. And I like opened my eyes. You got the gauges on the dash, and the gauges were doing this right here. They were moving back and forth, but they weren't really moving, but they were moving like that. And I was like, oh shit. I like closed my eyes again and I opened them up. They were still spinning. I'm like, damn. So I got out, like scramble down on the ground, and I sit up, and there's like a tree line back behind the pit area.
Yeah.
And the trees were doing this right here. And I was like, oh man.
It's really crazy you say Bloomington God. Because I went to run a MOA show there like 2017 or something like that. I know we had that red and white car, so it was 16 or 17. And I remember it was in a heat race. I was following Parker Price Miller through 1 and 2, and Parker biked like really hard, and it settled back down. Well, I was probably 4 or 5 car lengths behind him, and I had went right through. I'd committed to run the same spot he went into, and I'd done the same thing. Only mine biked this way, and when it come back down, it hit hard, and the left side hit, and it just like flung me like on my left side into the ground. Like just one hard bam just hit into the ground. And my headrest, I've tightened it up since then because of this wreck. But my headrest at the time, like there was probably this much gap to the left side. And so like when I hit on the left side, my head done like that. And when it done that, y'all, like no joke, I've always heard that term seeing stars. That is like legit. That is a real thing. Yeah. I remember seeing everything went black, but I could see like a ton of color. And I closed my eyes, sat there for a second, and my head was pounding, and it hurt for a week.
I got into the ambulance with him, and the doctor or the paramedic in there, he was like, "Are you good? Are you good?" Like, how many fingers am I holding up? And like, I don't know. I guessed the right number, but I don't know if he was holding 2 or 4. But I just guessed the right number because he was like, "Are you good?" He was like looking at me, and his head was like doing this number right here. No. He was like swaying around. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm all right." Like I wasn't gonna go to the hospital or nothing. It's like, "I'm good. I'm good." He was like, "How many fingers am I holding up?" And I guess it was showing 4, but I guess I just guessed 2 because it was kind of like coming in and out. And so I guess the right number. So they were like, "Oh, he's good." Go on. They're like, "Well, if you need us again, come holler at us." And I was like, "I'm good." So I get back to the trailer and I lay down. And I lay down on the trailer door, and like the stars are spinning around, like I'm getting like I'm in space or something. I was like, "Golly." Man. I didn't tell nobody though, but I was like kind of scared. But
did you ever tell anybody?
Well, I mean, the next morning I went to get up, and I go to stand up, and I like fall face first in the bed, and I finally told my dad about it. Then I was like, I think I might have a concussion or something going on here. But we never did go back to the doctors. Wow. That might explain a lot there.
Yeah, so, it really might.
So yeah, that was probably one of the crazier ones I've ever had. Like after that, I think I ran non-wing a couple times, but I don't care to ever do it again.
Yeah.
After that.
Yeah, they're brave souls. I don't know that I would want to take the wing off sprint car and go do any of that.
No, I mean, I don't have the desire anymore.
It looks fun, and it's racy. Like there's a lot of good races.
Yeah.
But man, it don't take but once for something like that to happen. And
yeah, them cage digs that I did when I went off the end, I could feel like I can still feel that feeling when that cage hit the dirt. It just shook your brain around or something.
I got to part. Hang on. I was going to say this real quick. You talking about the questions? I remember after the Peevely wreck a couple weeks ago that the paramedic was like, "How many dimes are in $1?" And I legit had to sit there for a second and think about it. I was like, I don't want to get this wrong, but
it's a tricky question.
I guess that's why they asked that one, makes you have to think a little bit. I don't know why, but anyway. And then, where was I fixing to go with that? You said something about your wreck, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, that was one of the questions they asked me and kind of caught me off guard, but I knew I was all right after that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that pretty much wrapped up my non-wing days.
Yeah.
Back in that time.
And Derek had said when he flipped it, like he actually like went blind. I had heard
that's happened before. Yeah, for sure. That's like we were driving back home that night, and Melvin Holcomb, he still had his non-wing 305. They were running Riverside, and he called me. He was like, "Hey, you want to come drive my car?" And at the moment, I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "Yeah, I'll come drive it." Just the racer in me come out again. Yeah. And then I tried to like go pee when we were coming back, and like I was missing the toilet and shit. I was like, "Well, maybe we shouldn't do this after all." So like I wisened up and didn't go race or anything like that. But yeah, it was that was one I'll never forget for sure. That was pretty rough.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'd probably still do it if it was the right situation, but
I would.
I don't know.
I don't care if a USAC ride called me. I'd be like, you want to put a wing on it? We put some wings on it.
Yeah. But. Well, I know like Nienheiser and Chase too. Like they like to Chase Howard. They like to take the wings off, go run the sprint car, and they're pretty good at it.
No, I was probably better at non-wing than I was the wing deal, but it's just I would never drive it hard like I did. Like the way before that crash, I never drove it like that after that crash. Yeah. And so it wasn't. I was like, I'm just not going to do this anymore.
Well, typically when you hit pretty hard, you tend to slow down after that because you know what it feels like. Yeah. So that's why I was just running a joke years ago. Some reporter had asked Dale Earnhardt, like, what do you got to do to catch the 24? This is like in the 90s, like mid-90s when Gordon came in all hot and was winning a bunch of races and stuff. And they'd asked Dale Sr. something like, what are you going to do about catching Jeff or something? And he said, he'll slow down. Yeah. And they're like, slow down? What do you mean slow down? I said, he ain't hit nothing hard enough yet. He'll slow down after he hits something hard. But yeah, so I don't disagree with you though. I probably wouldn't want to do it unless it was the right situation. Something short like Chili Bowl or anything like that.
Yeah.
So there was something I wanted to ask you real quick. Have you looked into anything with this high limit deal with the pool,
the bonus money or whatever?
Yeah, they announced.
I saw a little bit about it, but I didn't read too deep into it. I just saw.
So,
I guess if you're,
I'll read it real quick.
Top 5 winners will earn extra money.
Yeah, I'll read it real quick. It's not very long. It says High Limit Racing announced a new winner bonus pool for 2026 as part of its franchise system. This is a major topic for discussion. How will this change the series? Will it attract more teams? What does this mean for the future of sprint car racing as a whole, especially in relation to the Outlaws? Basically, it was saying that, where did it go? I had the price had it down on, basically first place got like a bonus of 40,000 and then second was 30,000 and so on and so forth.
But I think fifth was like extra 5,000 or something like that.
So where's all this? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, the top team will receive an extra $40,000. Second place team get 30 and so on. The total pool amount will increase each year through 2029, starting at 105,000 in 2026 and grows to 187,500. What do you think? What do you think about all that? I mean,
it sounds good.
It does sound good.
I just, it's kind of like the way I feel about the whole charter situation now. They're projecting out to 2029 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it all sounds good, looks good on paper, but I mean, I just find it hard to believe you project that out that far. And I mean, I feel like they can probably pull this winter bonus off next year, but I feel like the Outlaws are going to do something to match it. And so then you just kind of cancel both of them out. It doesn't give you an advantage over the Outlaws. The Outlaws are going to come with something. Yeah. They basically have to. You have to come back with something. So they're pretty much just keep doing that and balancing each other out.
It goes back to like what we talked about like early episodes, like when we first started, was like, this is what's good about High Limit. It's like it's making the Outlaws have to up the game.
They say shit or get off the pot.
Yeah. So it's good. It's good that they're in competition with each other because it's going to do nothing. I'd say benefit us like we run it, but it's going to help the teams a lot more. Could actually make some more money because that was something that me and Dale was talking. Like I said, we talked for a while the other night, and that was something Dale had brought up too. He's like, man, all the late model guys make all the money. And the sprint car guys, we don't make anything compared to the late model guys. And so that's why I'm hopeful with high limit doing all the stuff that they're doing, I'm hoping that we can start trending in that direction as well, start making some money. But
I don't know. I just feel like the late model guys, they definitely make the most. They make the most money, but it all goes to the same teams. Like, no, it made the have-nots. They're even further behind now. Like the big teams get this money. They already had the money, so they get to travel and race for it. Well, now they just build up even bigger, stronger, better, and you're still behind, and you're getting further behind, and so the separation's already pretty big. Well, now the gap's just going to get bigger. Kind of like late models. You don't see Dylan Knight, for instance. He's not going to show up. Even if he had a super, he's not going to show up and be able to compete with those guys. Just like us, we can maybe go make the show sometimes, but it's just going to put our separation even more. Now, the money's great for those teams, for sure, the ones that travel down the road, but for us, it's just going to, which, I mean, it could feed into making local racing better because we're going to want to go stay more local and try to build up like Farmington. That could be something that might help a Farmington or a Benton out to where those guys, if they're in Peevely, they're like, well, screw that. Like, I'm going to struggle to make the show here, so I'll just go run Benton for $1,700 to win, $2,000 to win or whatever. So, I mean, it could have that sort of effect on local racing, but the money is just going to help the bigger teams and make our separation even bigger.
I'm kind of glad that you brought that up because I basically had a podcast yesterday with Brian Bell because I had to go buy FSR, the radiator that we had in the car at Peevely.
Brian would be great for it.
I know.
He needs his own podcast.
I know. I told him yesterday. I was like, dude. After about an hour of talking, I said, you know what's a shame? And he said, what? I said, this was a great podcast. We just didn't have anything to record it. I was like, you need to come by and talk sometime. And so I would like to have him in here. But yeah, I went by there to drop that radiator off, and I want him to speak on his own terms. But he brought a good point up. He was talking about this 305 deal. Everybody's throwing a fit about the motor deal. And he's like, Farmington, you don't hear anybody hollering about cheating. Nobody hollers about cheating. You know why? Because the engine rule is just open.
Run what you brung.
Run what you brung. Mm-hmm. He said, I'm not going to bring my most expensive 410 and come run for $1,700. Yeah. He's like, I'll bring, my $30,000 360 and come over there and compete. And, we'll see how it goes. And it was a good point. I thought it was a pretty good point. I thought, well, why don't we just do that at Riverside? Just open up the engine.
He's mentioned that to me before too.
That's the first I've heard of it. And I like that idea.
I like that idea. Just open it up. You may have to go to like 2,000 to win to get those guys, like the Farmington guys, to come down or something like that. Because I mean, it's $1,750 at Farmington, but most of them live in the general area of the track. So, I mean, if you upped it just a little bit, you could get those guys to come down and race. Because some of them ask me about it now, like, is Riverside going to put a 410 race on or whatever? Yeah. And so I like the idea. Just mix them all up.
I do, too. I thought it was a great idea. And that would be a way to, go back and forth between the track. And if you could get Benton on the same page, it goes back to something I've been saying for a while. Like, you could have a little series, like a little series between three tracks that are local.
You could do Riverside twice a month or something like that. And, do Benton 1 week, Farmington 1 week or something to that effect. And kind of do that. Yeah, he mentioned that to me before. I really like that idea. Yeah. Like, let's just cut all the bullshit out and let's just go race,
just be done with
cars. If you want to bring a 305, bring a 305. Yeah. If you want to bring your 360, that's like, there's several guys like Brock Elliott. He brought his 360 over to Farmington a couple weeks ago, and hell, it's probably better. As small as that track is, like you
Especially if it gets really slick.
You don't, even if it's fast, you don't need all that horsepower. Like you said, you're rearing up, you're bucking, you can't keep your car right.
You're having to drag the brake or get out of the gas or something and keep it on the ground anyway.
And so I don't think it'd be unless you're not going to have unless if David Gravel showed up, like Brian also said, like if Gravel shows up, he's going to lap the field, but you don't need all that racing around here for the most part. Yeah. So I really liked that idea when he mentioned it to me too. I was like, let's just cut all the shit out and let's just
none of those guys are going to be coming. They're not going to be bothering us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just open it up and that way when you shut the door on your trailer and you're going to come to the racetrack, Keith Ainsworth's going to bring his 427, but we got our little 305, and we're just going to go over here and see how we rank.
It's like I said, like it's like that up there, and like it's fun, but it ain't. I mean, those guys, they have a little issues with each other here and there, kind of like our area does. But for me, it's fun to just go up there. Ain't no bullshitting, and nobody's mad about a motor or anything. Yeah. We just go race.
So that's how I felt about MOA. Like, I feel like most of the drama happens in this area. I don't know about you, but we have more drama go on. That's why we had that show last week.
We're more passionate,
I guess, but maybe they're just a little bit less passionate in Illinois then, because like when I go run MOA and stuff, all the guys seem to get along. Everybody races each other pretty clean.
I think a lot of it is
problems.
We're not there around it all the time. And in this area, we've just kind of grew up around here and we've been around it all. So you see it all. It's just like, even at Farmington, like Jeff Asher and Corbin Keith, they have a beef going on with each other, but to me, I'm just going up there, so I don't really feel it or have a connection to it, where I don't know those guys. I know those guys a little bit. I don't know them super well. Or everybody around here, I know everybody well. So you hear everything, you see everything.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel more connected and closer to it than when you go out of town and go somewhere else. That stuff still goes on, but you're just not connected to it. True. I guess so.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, I've got my few that I'll race the dog mess out of, because we've raced each other hard, not gotten along, and and then like over time, it's kind of fun. It's really funny to me that me and Dale can sit there and have a good conversation, because it wasn't that long ago that Dale and I wasn't seeing eye to eye. And, I thought he done me pretty dirty that night at Riverside, and I got him back, and then we just kind of went back and forth. No, I don't think neither one of us ever said a word to each other about it, but we just kind of took care of it on the racetrack, and then I don't know, just one day it was like we were over it, and now when I see him in the pits, I'm like, hey man, what's going on, and he'll talk to me. So it's just kind of funny how over time it kind of goes away, but I've also tried to be a little more like outgoing. Like used to, I just stayed in my trailer and I didn't go nowhere. I didn't talk to nobody. I didn't want to talk to anybody, because I was kind of afraid to become friends with people that I raced against or talk to them have much of a relationship, because I didn't want to see them as people, I guess, because I wanted to not think about that behind the wheel of the car. But I've kind of learned how to put that aside and just go up and do what you're supposed to do. Over time.
Nowadays, I let all that shit roll off my sleeve. Like, you could go take me out tomorrow, and like by the next day I'm over it. Like, I'm not carrying that shit on into next week. Like,
that's good to know. I'll write that down.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's just the way I am. Like, 10 years ago, like I was being a little idiot, but like now I just like whatever. It's racing is just like a part of my life, and I'm not going to let it affect other parts of my life or my day. And so I just kind of now Kim, she'll be ready to fight for the next 2 months.
Kim is definitely ready to fight.
But me, I'm just like, it's not worth me ruining my Sunday or into my Monday over that. Like, we'll just fix it, come back. And maybe that's easy to say because it hadn't been any of my money for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the way. But even in the end, when the last year I raced my car, 2019, like I had the same type of attitude. Now Kim, she ran down to the trailer and made this one guy come apologize to me. The poor guy.
I don't know that.
He was just out there fighting for his life, and I had to go back to the back with him for some reason, and he come in there and spun my ass out.
Oh no!
And then I got slammed in the side, and it bent the wheel and all that stuff.
She drove this man to the trailer.
She went down to that guy's trailer, and she was up in his trailer. She said she was pointing at me, so I don't know what she was saying, but he come down there, was like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. And I guess she told him, you're going to go down there and apologize to him. He's like, yes, ma'am. He went down there.
Kim is pretty scary. She's always been kind of scary, pretty intimidating to grow up with. So I can understand.
I've had to get her to change Facebook Live captions many times. I was like, you cannot change that to start at 6th, finish 3rd, or
Didn't
whatever.
She have to start muting the lives? Like she got to wear.
I mean, I probably, she had to go back and she'd have to mute certain parts out of it. Because that's why she started kind of wouldn't go Facebook Live, because she wanted to say stuff, but she would catch herself most of the time.
So we had Beth Vision and Kim Vision.
Oh yeah,
We got to come up.
Well, I mean, it wasn't nearly nowhere near as tense as Beth.
I don't know. No, the whole time it was usually, babe, come on, babe, go, babe. That was usually what you heard was babe, babe. A bunch of times back to back.
Yeah, so yeah, Kim, she's the one that's intense and wanting to fight all the time, and I'm just kind of like laid back.
Yeah, the older I can tell, the older I get, I try to let it go, but still, like I'm still just as passionate about it. But at the same time, like when the whole Landon deal, I know when he got into me a couple years ago, I was pretty fired up about that. But I don't know. I'm trying to come out of my shell a little bit more and try to get along with everybody a little bit better. And I don't know. I'm trying to look at it a different way than I used to. I used to go in there with so much pressure, and because I wanted to run good, and I didn't want to be tight with anybody, and I don't know. I just kind of thought maybe it would help me, but I don't think it's helped me at all. I think just trying to get in there and talk to people a little more often, and build some relationships, and actually hang out with the guys, and take the time to talk in between a heat race. I did not really. I've seen Bubba on Facebook and talked to Bubba on Facebook, but I didn't even really know what he looked like until like this year.
Yeah.
And then he was parked next to us at Atwood, and I had a ball with him and his dad just sitting there just talking. Yeah. I talked to him for a good while too, just and I didn't know the story about how he got to race a sprint car. Did you know that story?
I don't guess so.
He was telling me that I think he had said that they won a championship or something. They were at the banquet for the go-kart stuff, and they were talking about like moving, like he was going to move up, and he wanted to race late models. His daddy's like, no, we want to do sprint cars or whatever. They flipped a coin in the parking lot and Bubba lost. And that's why he was racing a sprint car. So I had a good time with Bubba, but anyway, if you got anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, I did want to touch on a little bit real quick about, I was watching Chaz, which I refer to the Chaz all the time, but he just has interesting stuff sometimes.
He does.
And he sat down with Shane Liebig, which is the one that owns Ryan Tim's car. Mm-hmm. And there's been a lot of rumors swirling around, like, all the open seats. Yeah. Everybody rumors Ryan Tim's going to this, whatever. But Ryan Tim's ain't leaving the 10 car. Yeah. There was just a couple interesting things that he touched on there in that interview. But go to the Chaz's, you can watch the whole 2-hour thing. He says a lot of interesting stuff on there. But I didn't know that they're from, he lives in Rapid City, South Dakota, which is 9.5 hours from Knoxville. And they would race Knoxville every Saturday. And it comes back Hewitt's on Sunday. Man, and he would get home at like 3:30, then he owns a trailer business up there, and go back to work at 7:30 on Monday morning. They've been doing that since Houston started racing. They've been doing that every weekend. Mm-hmm. Of course, they do some other, Thursday shows, stuff like that.
And he just won Houston's Sunday night.
Yeah. So I thought that was wild that I didn't realize they were 9.5 hours away from Knoxville.
I didn't either.
Crazy to think about. And
could you imagine us? That's like us packing up our stuff and going to Knoxville
every weekend. I know that's
a haul.
And so they've been doing that, all year long. And he kind of told some stories about Ryan Timms, the way they got like hooked together. Ryan had driven for Guy Forbrook, and Liebig was looking for somebody, and Guy Forbrook called him and said, you need to put Ryan Timms in your car. And he was like, yeah, I'm not really looking for a driver, blah, blah, blah. So they talked, they hung up. And so Forbrook called him back again and said, he's like, hey, did you call Ryan? Because he gave him the number and stuff. He's like, no, I haven't called him. And Forbrook said, you're a pussy. And he hung up on him. And so he's like, you're a pussy. And he hung up on him. Well, then about 10 minutes later, Randy Timms, which is Ryan's dad, called him. And
Shane.
Called the Liebig, the owner, and told him, like, hey, let's, hook up, let's get together, blah, blah, blah. And so they went to I-70 for their first race. And so Ryan shows up to the track, and Shane Liebig, like, he's this burly, bearded guy, like, worked with his hands his whole life. He can build the engine. He can do everything to the car, right? Yeah. And so Ryan Timms walks up, and he's like, all right. He's like, well, bolt your seat in the car. He said he looked at me like a deer in the headlights. Like, how do you do this? And Shane Levick was like, what have I got myself into here? You know, he said, so the crew guys got him like helped him bolted in the seat or whatever. And so he went to I-70. He led a bunch of that feature that night, and he ended up running second. Whatever happened, he ran second. So then the next night they went to Lucas Oil Speedway. And he was leading that one too, I believe, and he cut down a right rear. And he had to go to the back, and he come back up, finished like 6th or 7th. Well, they went down to Texas. They went to Texas, and I think they went to Charlotte, and they had some pretty good top 5 stuff like that. And so then at the end of the year, Randy and Ryan sat down with Shane, and they're like, "Hey, we want to put this deal together because if you remember, Ryan Timms was doing his own deal for a while, and they struggled. He fell off. Like he looked like he was going to be the next guy, and he just fell off.
Yeah, because he won his first ASCS national race at like 14 at Lake Ozark, and I mean he come in, and I mean he was racing against us a lot. I mean he was fast. He was hard to deal with.
And then as soon as he jumped in this 10 car, he started rolling. So they talked about like, hey, we want to do this. So he said, you know, I can't race like you want to race. I just can't do that. And Ryan and Randy told him, it's like, I would rather race 40 races for you than to run 80 races for anybody else, because they just clicked. Like when you find that right pairing, you just click together. And so he was like, well, let me think about it. So anyways, he called him back a couple of weeks. He's like, I can probably do 80, 85, but I'm going to need a little bit of help. We know Randy Timms, I think he owns like a trucking company, and he has some leverage in there. He got him a few sponsors and things like that, which put together this deal they have this year. Then they win the Knoxville Nationals, and it's just crazy how that all came full circle and worked out. And they put this deal together, and I loved the Shane Levick's attitude. The whole, like, he was talking about what like drives him and what motivates him, and they were talking about the Knoxville Nationals. And he said, you know, he said Kyle Larson, he's a good guy, I'm sure, whatever. He said, but you know, when they asked him in that interview, who do you think is a threat to win? He named everybody but Ryan Timms. And he said, you know what? He said, that pissed me off.
I saw that part.
He said, I'm going to show this MF. And he said the MF. He didn't say MF. He said, I'm going to show this MF. He's like, that was his driving. He's like, I don't care who shows up to the track. He said, back when I raced, when I went to the racetrack, I looked for the biggest, baddest guy, and I was throwing a slide job on him in heat race just to let him know like I was there. And like I came with that mentality. I don't care if he's got better stuff than I do. He's been racing longer than me. I don't care. Like, I feel like if I get my shit right, then we can compete with anybody. I was like, man, I was thinking to myself, I was like, when I first started racing sprint cars, I had that attitude. When I come in like 17, 18, we would go run ASCS. And that was when it was Gary Wright, Jason Johnson, Shane Stewart, Sam was out there, Tony Bruce was out there. Yeah. And we'd show up, and I would be like, I didn't care who they were. Like, let's line up. And now when I go to the grid, I'm like, all right, who's behind me? Who's in front of me? I was like, I got to get that mentality back when I go to the racetrack. It's like, I don't care who it is. I don't care if they got better stuff than me. Like, I got to find that confidence again. I was like, that really like woke me up when he was talking like that. I was like, because I'm definitely not like that anymore. I look at the heat race, like, all right, who's in my heat? Where are they starting? Are they behind me?
Yeah, you'll look at it and go, crap, I've got the hardest heat here.
I got to stop. I got to stop that. Like, that made me really think to myself, if I'm going to race, I can't have that attitude no matter what my stuff is. Like, I got to go have the confidence that I can go out there with no matter what I got and be competitive and compete with those guys. Because, like, I don't suck. Like, I feel like I can hold my own. I'm not saying I'm the greatest driver ever, but I don't suck. And I have to remember to myself that, hey, you don't suck. Yeah. Like, when those people look at the heat race, they might think the same thing about you. Like, oh, shit, Brad's behind me. Yeah. But, like, I don't think about it that way. I'm like, oh, this guy's in front of me. You know? So I don't know. It was just, that was one of the parts that kind of like opened my eyes to like what the mindset I've went into these races with here lately is not the killer instinct. It's been like, oh, who's in my heat? Oh, shit. What am I going to do?
I know what you mean. I think we all do that. But something Bo's dad, I went to Bo's parents' house one Sunday. I guess it was last week. I think it was. We were eating lunch after church, and you know, he was talking about having like a positive attitude and what, you know, the way you look at things. We were fixing to leave the house, and every time, so Spencer doesn't like to leave anywhere we go. Like if we're leaving the house to go to church, he cries, throws a fit. He don't want to leave. Yeah. When we get to church, he's fine. Well, then he don't want to leave then. So he cries and fusses, and if we go wherever, like whatever we're doing, he does not want to leave. Yeah. He gets comfortable where he is, and he don't want to change. Well, we were fixing to leave Mr. Jeff or Jeppy and Jin Jin. That's what the grandkids call them. We were fixing to leave their house. And I said, well, here we go, fixing to throw a fit, and he said, oh, you can't do that. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, you can't have that attitude. You gotta say, we're gonna leave here, everything's gonna be good. He's like, you gotta give off that energy, that positive vibe. He said, up here, he said, you can change a lot of things in your life by how you approach things and how you view the world. And so it's just like Friday night. As soon as I hit, the tire was flat. I told Bo this. I talked to Bo right after this race, and I said, I'm sitting there. I roll in the infield, and normally I'm mad and I'm unbuckling already. I said, but I just sat there. I said, I didn't even take the steering wheel off. I just kind of sat there, and I thought, well, it sucks, but we got tomorrow. And I tried to stay upbeat. I'm like, car was good. We got the car pretty good, and I think we're gonna be fine. And no sooner did they take the green and went down there, one of the cars turned over and the red come out. So I start hollering, hey, get a tire. And we went back, finished the race, got back, to 8th. And I was like, well, that's some of that positive energy. Now, it didn't help me Saturday night, didn't get the red. But at the same time, I was like, that's how you should always do it.
Yeah, so. I know. I'm going to really work on trying to change my mindset going into this deal because, I stress myself out way too much. Yeah. You were talking about walking around, talking to people in the pits. Well, I've been doing less of that because I get there and I stress myself out so much. I think about everything going on or what do I need to do? Do I need to listen to this? And by the end of the night, I'm like, shit, I didn't talk to anybody all night. Yeah. I'm so, I wouldn't say even locked in. I'm just stressed the fuck out. I wouldn't say I'm locked in. I was stressed. I got to do this. I got to do this. Shit, this guy's starting in front of me. And I get myself all worked up. Then when I go out there, I feel like I sucked the first 3 laps because I've worked myself up, stressed myself out, and I'm not focused in on what I need to do. And so I'm gonna really try to lock in this weekend, not worry about who's in my heat race or where we start. Just go line up and drive the car like I know I can, and just try to relax a little bit because I haven't relaxed in a long time. I've just been uptight.
That's something last year. Last year, JoJo and Bo and a lot of people were going to the races with us, and I had more fun last year just because I felt like all my buddies was there.
Yeah.
And it made it a ton of fun. Normally it's me and Dad, and we're stressing out because we're trying to get everything taken care of, and I'm trying to watch the racetrack. I'm trying to help him as much as I can. Yeah. We're going back and forth, and so when Bo and JoJo and all these guys are coming to the racetrack and we're getting help, we can all kind of relax. And I was like, this is fun. I actually had more fun last year. And then looking back, if you look back at all our results, we hardly ever finished out of the top 10. We were putting races together. Cars were usually good. We were getting better. And heck, we qualified good at the Outlaw Show. Things were on the up and up because we weren't stressed out and we were having fun. And so that's kind of, I don't know what happened this year. I'm still trying to have the same fun, but things keep going south. I blame Will because he started coming around, and then we've sucked ever since. But
you can't blame me.
I'm not anymore because you weren't there at Atwood, so I can't blame you anymore. But yeah, I mean, we try to have more fun with it. And I'm gonna tell you. So I know we're probably getting ready to wrap up. So something else that excited me over this past weekend, and I don't know how it has been for you, but I have gotten stopped multiple times. Hey, I love the podcast. Hey, I listen to it. It makes me laugh and all this stuff. So it's made me feel good that, people, for one, I can't believe that many people's tuning in and listening to us talk. I love doing it. I know you enjoy doing it. We all do. But it means a lot that all of you guys at home watching are coming forward and saying hey, love the podcast, keep it up. I think what you're doing is great. So that made me feel pretty good too, and maybe that's what's helping me warm up to other people too. Is I'm glad that y'all love what we're doing, and I hope we can keep growing it and moving forward. But anyway, you got anything else? Any closing thoughts? You good? All right. Well, guys, if you like what you hear, if you would please subscribe. Share this podcast, share it with others, and make sure you like it. we do go live on TikTok. It's not not as good as YouTube personally, but like on TikTok, I'll go live like doing work in the shop, or maybe I'll stream an iRace. I know Jen doesn't like it when I talk about iRacing and video games and stuff, but I'll go live on my iRacing stuff. Have fun with that. So keep your eye open on TikTok. I'll go live there. You don't go live on TikTok. You don't like TikTok.
I gotta get one though.
You gotta
someone
get on
had to
TikTok.
just.
He's so worried.
Break
He's
down.
so worried that the China folks that already have his information, right there. He's so worried that they're gonna take it.
Don't like doing the trendy thing. Like when Crocs were cool, I wasn't buying a pair of Crocs. All right, the TikTok's cool. I don't want TikTok.
So did you listen to any mainstream music yesterday or anything like that? You stayed away from the mainstream.
Oh, yeah,
Kyle Larson didn't win a race on your birthday, so it was a good day.
Good day.
Yeah, none of the mainstream stuff happened for you yesterday. All right, well, we appreciate y'all listening. Thanks for getting in the comments, talking to us a little bit, but we'll see you guys next week.
Just waiting for it to show over here. I think that's how it works. Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was shooting for.
I know.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks.
So me and Hadley were just sitting here, and I went live